Oh, something's got my worm. Oh. You still got it. That's what that fish was doing. Alright, here we go. Got him. What is it? Oh, he's pulling. What are you? What are you? Welcome back, everybody. So not that long ago, I had been out and was fishing at one of my favorite lakes and saw some absolutely massive fish, like huge, pushing 2 to 3 feet. And the species that are in there tends to believe that it was a very, very. Oh, we gonna have one bite. Oh my gosh. It should be a very, very good fish. I have come out here a number of times since then trying to find this fish. And I've seen him a couple of times. It's a decent little gill to start off the day. And I've seen him a fair number of times, but never been able to get him to bite. Yeah, I guess the species that are in this lake are, should be essentially bass, crappie, bluegill, and trout. And anything pushing 2 foot that's a bass or a trout is absolutely ginormous. There's a chance that something random got in here. You could have a pike or a bottom dwelling fish like a carp or a sucker or something like that. Or even a catfish. But I have not been able to get this thing to bite at all. So we're battling, trying to find this thing. We've gone to old school tactics, and I just have a night crawler sitting out there on a bobber, hoping for it to get interested in anything. It's such a skittish fish too. Yeah, I don't know what we have to do, but we've probably put in a total of probably at least 20 hours. It's been like 3 trips. No, it's been 4 trips for a few hours every night. And cannot get this thing to bite. So that's the goal today, is hopefully to find out what this mystery fish is. If we don't end up catching it today, we might end up bringing a camera out just to try and figure out what it is and if it's something desirable to catch. But let's get after it. We already caught one, which is great, but not what we're after. So let's keep trying. Got him. Get him that time. Probably not a big bluegill. So I don't think this mystery fish, is a pike either, because we did drop a bluegill a little bit smaller than this down there one night and didn't even pay any interest to it. So I don't think it's a pike. If it was a bass, you think it would have been a little bit interested too, because when you're talking about a 2 foot plus long bass, you're talking 8 pounds, which could eat one of those bluegills easily. So I still have no idea what this thing is. But we'll keep trying, seeing if we can't get lucky. In all honesty, I think it's the smartest fish in North America, because I've seen it a couple times where when you pull lines out for a little while, it'll come around. But as soon as you drop a line down there, even though I'm using like 2-pound ice line, like something that a fish shouldn't really be able to see, it leaves. It's just incredibly, incredibly wary. So I don't have the highest hopes, but maybe we can get lucky and it'll make a mistake. There's one. Get him. Little guy. He's fighting hard though. One thing I do have a little concern with is if we do end up with a big one. Here, let's drop our bait down. There's a trout down there that was following this bluegill. See if we can't get him. Come back. That was kind of interesting. Where are you? Come back around. But yeah, we'll have to worry about getting all our lines up, because they'll definitely tangle that deep down. So let me go through all of the baits that. Oh, is that one of them? So there's a number of these fish. That's not one of the big ones. So there's a number of them. So that one looks like it's a little bit over 14 inches. There's a number of them that are 14 to, I would say, about 20. And then there's two monster ones. And I don't know what species they are. Again, in theory, it should be a bass or a trout. Like, that should be the only thing in this lake that's that size. And for either one of those, you're pushing close to my PB bass and definitely my PB trout. So I'm just hoping to get lucky to catch one of these things. Here comes one of them, but that's not one of the big ones. That's like on the smaller side of them. And I don't know what they are because they don't really act like trout, the trout that you catch out of here. But they aren't like really interested in bluegill or anything else like a bass should be. So he's coming over to it. That's not one of the big ones though. That's actually small compared to some of them. He touched it. Eat it. It's got it. Yeah, that's not very big at all. Oh, it's crappie. So the big fish would absolutely dwarf this thing. We're talking double at least. And how big is this guy? This 9 inches. So yeah, you're looking at something 18 to 20 down there, bare minimum. But there are some absolute monster ones that's close to 2 foot. When it was swimming on live scope, it was almost 3 foot, which when they're swimming, they do have a bit of a trail behind them. Oh, do we have something eating our worm? Oh, we do. We do. That's not anything big either, but we'll still catch them. Oh, he let go of it. What fish lets go of a worm? Well, that was our first chance at something. That didn't look like a crappie that had bit there. It might have been, but it looked a little bit bigger than the crappie we just caught. So, looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit, which is great. See if we can't end up getting one of the big ones to bite. Got him. Is that a trout? Again, this looked tiny on the screen compared to what those other fish look like. Oh, he's pulling. I didn't see him. See a trout? Oh no. Oh, it's a little bass. And that's why I'm just not sure what's down there. What? Because that is it's a 13, maybe 12-inch bass. So are those other ones, like, honestly, 7-pounders? Like, I just have no idea what is sitting down there. And I didn't go through. There's another small-ish one down there. That, I don't know if he's looking at my worm or what he's doing. We'll let him go. He's very yellow. I think that... Oh, that's a little bit better of a fish. Let's see. Still got waxy on there. Drop it down, see if we can get him to turn around. Looks bigger than the bass. Not one of the big ones, though. Come back. Turn around. Turn around. So, the baits that we've used so far has been everything. I thought these were bass. So, I've used bass baits. I've used the Berkeley Max Scent worms. I've used, obviously, tungstens and waxies, which is what I just caught that bass on. Used live bluegill that were like 3-4 inches. Worms. I've used paddle tails. I've used like a hover rig. I have used everything under the sun to get these fish to bite, and they just won't. That's a little bit better of a fish, and he's coming over to it. Maybe we're just on a better day. Oh, he's going to eat. He's going to eat. Do it. You touched it. Way too big to be that finicky. Oh. Oh, something's got my worm. Oh, oh. You still got it. That's what that fish was doing. Alright, here we go. Got him. What is it? Oh, he's pulling. What are you? What are you? I don't know if you're... This one didn't look very big. There's our leader. Oh my gosh. What in the world? Oh my god. This is the biggest bluegill. There's no way those were obviously bluegill. This one didn't look that big on screen. But this is the biggest bluegill I have ever... I don't know about ever caught, but definitely this winter. Oh my gosh. How big are you? This thing is 10.5 inches. Just touching the line. Oh my gosh. That's the biggest one I've ever caught. Possibly ever. I've caught some 10.25s, but a 10.5. There's another one down there. I don't know if that's one of the big ones or not, but that is absolutely absurd. Right on the nose. Oh, he was touching 10.5, but that is crazy. I'm going to get a picture of him and let him go. Alright, we're going to let him go. That is insane. That's definitely not what the big ones were, but hey, if we are catching fish that are my PBs, I don't even care what they are. Alright, we're gonna... I'm surprised that we couldn't get one of those to bite on a tungsten. Because I'm sure that's probably some of what the fish are down there. Alright, we'll drop that back down again. Holy cow. I am so amped. But now it just goes to prove that there's multiple giants around here. Got him. See, that's a trout. I don't know what these things are. Oh, we're not keeping... Oh, that's a crappie. Oh, that's a good crappie. I thought that was a trout the way he came in. Buzzing. Oh, stop. Stop. That's a good crappie. Let's get the pliers for him. See, he acted like the trout do. Moving fast, which usually suspended. That's a good crappie. But he's what, 11? 11.5 maybe? He is 11 on the 11 3/4. Sure, if I push his mouth closed, probably be 11.5. A lot of good fish out today. Let him go. This might be one of the most productive days we've had out here, so maybe we're just fishing bad times, but I unfortunately have not seen the big one though. So he might have moved. Every time we came out, he was sitting on this, I don't know how well you can see that, but there is a weed patch sitting down there, and he would sit on it like he owned it. Like, legitimately, like, if you ever watch Finding Nemo, the guy that's in love with bubbles, that, like, claims his bubbles, like, that was that fish on that weed bed. It would just, or it's just a little bit of isolated weeds that it would always sit, and it'd leave, but it would always come back to it. So I haven't seen it this morning, which means we might not have a chance at that one at all, but there's a lot of good ones here, so I'm not moving. We'll fish here for as long as we can till we gotta leave, but see if we can't get some more. Yeah. They are just fired up today. What a day. Oh no. Are we in the other line? No. Maybe. Yes, we are. Ah. Shoot. Another good bluegill. I say good bluegill, but absolutely nothing compared to the one we caught. Alright. Yeah, got one. I think it's a trout. Got him. I think, oh, it's for sure a trout. Only trout act like that. We're gonna try and get him unhooked. Oh, stay in the water. We are not keeping today. Calm down, calm down. I was dropping it down there, and as I was dropping it down there, oh, we might have to grab him actually, unfortunately. Wet our hands. As I was dropping it down there, all of a sudden see a flash and chasing it down. And I think he hit it while it was still falling. There we go. Get him back. Should be able to make it. Usually those trout I like to keep just because one, they're stocker trout, so they're meant to be kept, and two, they usually don't have the greatest survival rate. But we had our hands wet and did everything we could for it. Got them back quick, so should be all right. But again, so we've caught every species that in theory is supposed to be in this lake, and the big ones, I've only seen one good sized one, and it doesn't act like any of them. They are even though they are by far the biggest. The one I saw today that was decent size was probably, I saw one that was about 16. That was right after the bass. That could have been another bass. And then I saw one a little bit bigger that was probably about 18. But they just are super finicky. Obviously they're probably a smart fish, which is why they got so big. But they don't act like the trout, because the trout are usually very quick and usually suspended. These are sitting on the bottom. There are some big ones, and they don't seem to want a worm sitting on the bottom. They don't want a worm on a bobber. They don't want a tungsten. They don't want bass baits. I don't know. I used a bucktail jig at one point in time. I used gulp minnows. Like any of those species should eat that, but I don't know what's down there. It's the Einstein of fish, I swear. But we've caught a really good fish, or like a fair number of fish, and we've only been here an hour. So we've done very, very well. But I would love to know what that big one was, and I guess the search may continue. At this point in time, I feel kind of like that episode with Jeremy Wade, where he's trying to catch the goonch catfish. Spending hours and hours trying to catch one fish. If we ever do, I think it'll be worth it though. But I haven't seen it today, so let's just continue to fish. We got about another almost hour before I gotta leave, so maybe it'll come around. About to find it. Well, that one's the smallest out of all of them. Oh, and we're in the line. No. We're in all the lines. Oh no, that's a gill. The other ones looked much longer, so I don't know what was. Maybe it was crappie hanging out with a gill. Oh, we have a trout that's trying to eat our worm. That's all messed up. There's a big one down there. This is a conundrum. Oh, we're still all sorts of tangled. That one's gonna eat. Get him, little guy. There's another one down there. Oh no, don't get in the bobber. I think we're free. Oh, little gill. There's another one down there, about the same size. Drop him down. See if we can't catch that. Oh, and he just disappeared. That will probably be our last one for today. Well, that's about it for today. It's another trip where we didn't end up catching our mystery fish. Didn't even see it today. But in all honesty, us popping the same holes day after day after day, probably spooked it out a little bit. So we will most certainly come out and pursue this fish again at some point in time, yet this ice season. But today we ended up catching, in theory, every species of fish that's supposed to be in this lake, and probably caught my PB bluegill, which was crazy. That was the only bite that we had on a worm. Again, odd, but it is what it is. If you guys have any idea what this mystery fish is, by all means drop it in the comment section below, along with any sort of recommendations or techniques to try and catch it that I haven't tried already. But yeah, fish is becoming a bit of a legend for me. But as always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till next one.